Level 1, the volunteer. It starts with a video. A harpoon fires, a whale rolls in the water, and the water turns red. Something in you breaks, and it doesn't grow back. You find the Sea Shepherd website at 2 a.m. You fill out the online crew application. Sailing experience, medical conditions, dietary needs, the ship is vegan, next of kin. You list a friend, because you don't want to scare your mother. There is no salary. There is no salary for anyone. You pay your own airfare to the ship. You wait 3 months. Then an email. Report to Williamstown, Melbourne, in 6 weeks. Campaign departure pending. You sell your car. You quit your job. You tell people you're going to save the whales, and you watch their faces decide you're naive. Maybe you are. You fly 17 hours across the world with one duffel bag and a sleeping bag. You stand on a cold dock and look up at the Me/Sim/Y Steve Irwin, black hull streaked with rust, a flag snapping in the wind, a white skull over a crossed shepherd's crook, and a trident. A crew member with a beard and a 1,000-yard stare hands you a clipboard. You sign a liability waiver that says you understand you could be injured, imprisoned, lost overboard, or killed, and that no one is coming to pay your ransom. You sign it. They take your passport for safekeeping, and your phone has no signal anyway. You carry your bag up the gangway past coils of rope and a dented small boat, and the metal is cold through your gloves. You don't know it yet, but the person who walked up that gangway is already gone. Level 2, the deckhand. The ship is not romantic. The ship is rust and diesel and seasickness. You are assigned a bunk the size of a coffin, 3 high, in a cabin with 5 strangers from 4 countries. You wake at 6 a.m. for watch. You scrub, you chip rust and repaint. You coil lines until your hands blister and the blisters tear and become calluses. You work in the galley because everyone works in the galley, peeling vegetables for 60 people in a steel kitchen that pitches 40 degrees. The Southern Ocean is the most violent water on Earth. Waves the size of buildings. You vomit for the first 4 days and then your body gives up and learns. You stand bow watch at 3 a.m. in the dark, harnessed to the rail, salt freezing on your eyelashes, looking for growlers, low chunks of ice the radar can't see, ice that can open the hull like a can. You learn fire drills and abandoned ship drills until you can find your survival suit blind. You learn the ship's language, the bosun, the wheelhouse, the slipway, port and starboard, the monkey island above the bridge where you scan the gray horizon for a smudge of smoke that means you've found them. You learn that this old boat, bought with donations, held together with welds and stubbornness, is sailing 2,000 miles south to find a fleet of ships that does not want to be found, and stop them with nothing but its own body. You're cold all the time. You've never been more awake in your life. Level 3, the small boat crew. They notice you don't flinch. They put you on the small boats. The RHIBs, rigid inflatables, and the Delta, launched off the deck by crane into freezing swell. You learn to drive 1 through 6-foot chop without throwing your crew. Then the call comes over the radio, target sighted. After 11 days of searching empty ocean, you find them. The harpoon ships first, fast and gray. Then the thing you came for, the factory ship, 8,000 tons, a slipway in its stern where the whales are dragged up and cut apart at sea. Your job is to stop the killing without hurting anyone. You learn the tools. Prop fowlers, long ropes you trail across their bows to tangle in their propellers, bottles of butyric acid, rotten butter, foul but harmless, thrown onto the flensing deck so they can't process a carcass there. You scream across the water in a tiny boat next to a ship the size of an apartment block. They turn the high-pressure water cannons on you, and the cold hits like concrete and tries to flip the boat. They throw bolts and chunks of metal down at your head. They blast a long-range acoustic device that feels like an ice pick in your skull. You hold your line. You position your hull between the harpoon and the sea so they cannot fire without hitting you, and for as long as you sit there, no whale dies. You're 26 years old, and you are physically blocking the slaughter of the largest animals that have ever lived. Level 4, the activist. The confrontation has a season, and the season has a day it turns. You are in the Addy Gill, a black wave-piercing trimaran that looks like a spaceship, fast and fragile. You're running interference in front of a security ship, the Shonen Maru no Bow 2. And then the bow of a steel vessel is turning toward you, and there is no time, and the world becomes noise and water. The ship cuts your boat in half. You are in the Southern Ocean, in your survival suit, in water that kills in minutes, watching the front of your boat sink. They pull you out. Everyone lives, this time. You stand dripping on the deck of the Bob Barker, and you understand something you can't unfeel. They will hit you. The radio calls it harassment, piracy, eco-terrorism. A court in another hemisphere will call you pirates. Your government tells you to come home. You don't go home. You watch the footage of the whaling fleet leaving the Antarctic early, season after season, kill quotas unmet, because you and people like you stood in the water and refused to move. You did that. A handful of unpaid volunteers on a second-hand boat changed what a government fleet could do. You believe now that one person can. Level 5, the Bosun. After 3 campaigns, you stop being the one who is trained and become the one who trains. You're the Bosun. You run the deck. The new volunteers arrive each season, idealistic, soft-handed, exactly like you were, and you have 11 days of empty ocean to turn them into a crew before the targets appear. You teach them prop fouling, boat launches, what to do when the cannons hit. You teach them that the rule is real. You do not injure a living thing, not even the men trying to sink you. The campaigns change. The whaling fleet finally stays home beaten, and the war moves. You sail to the Sea of Cortez for Operation Milagro and the Vaquita, the smallest porpoise on Earth, fewer than 30 left, then fewer than 20, dying in illegal gill nets, set for a fish whose bladder sells for more than cocaine. You spend nights hauling up nets of drowned animals, dolphins, sea turtles, hammerheads, by the ton, and the live ones you cut free and watch swim down into the dark. You log GPS coordinates, you photograph the Totoaba bladders, you hand drone footage to the Mexican Navy who ride along on your deck. The cartel runs the poaching now. Your ship is rammed in the dark by pangas with no lights. Men in masks throw rocks, lead weights, Molotov cocktails that arc over the water and burst on your hull. They hold up their phones and film your faces. This is not whales in the Antarctic anymore. This is organized crime, and you are unarmed, and you keep pulling nets until the sun comes up. Level 6, the second mate. You earn your tickets the hard way. Sea time and study in a bunk by headlamp while the ship rolls. You're a watch officer now, second mate, standing the bridge alone at night, responsible for the lives of 60 sleeping people and a hull moving through ice and poachers and weather. You plot the courses. You read the radar. You learn the part they don't show in the documentary, the law. The injunctions. A federal court orders you to stay 500 yards from the whalers and calls your founder and your crew pirates in writing. Interpol issues a red notice for the captain who started all of this. The organization fractures, country by country, lawyers arguing over the name and the flag and the tactics, the founder pushed out of the very navy he built. You sit on the bridge at 4 a.m. and realize the ocean was the simple part. The hard part is that the world cannot decide whether you are a criminal or the only one doing anything, and most days it decides you are both. Level 7, the first mate. You're the first mate now, the second in command, the one who makes it work when the captain is asleep. You run Operation Icefish in the deep Antarctic, hunting the toothfish poachers, 6 outlaw vessels stealing protected fish worldwide, fishing with gill nets 50 miles long. You find one, the Thunder, and you do not let go. You chase it. For 110 days, 11,000 nautical miles, across 3 oceans, through ice fields and storms, the longest pursuit of a ship in maritime history. You haul up 72 kilometers of their illegal gill net out of the sea by hand, hour after hour, day after day, to use as evidence, freeing the fish still alive in it. They try to lose you in the ice. They try to lose you in storms that bury your bow. They shine spotlights and dump oil and run dark, and you stay on their stern for 3.5 months. And then, off the coast of West Africa, the poachers open their own sea valves and scuttle their ship rather than be boarded, sinking the evidence to the bottom. And you launch your boats and you rescue the 30 desperate men you were chasing out of the water, because the rule holds even now. You do not let a human die at sea, not even him. You hand them to authorities. The captains are convicted. You proved it can be done. You also haven't slept a full night in years, and you've stopped counting the birthdays you've missed. Level 8, the captain. They give you a ship. You stand in the wheelhouse of your own vessel, and the weight of it settles onto your chest and never leaves. Every life aboard is yours. Every decision, your name. You take partnerships now, working under the flags of small nations, Gabon, Liberia, taking national police and Coast Guard officers aboard, so that when you catch a poacher there are real arrests, real prosecutions, real consequences. You patrol West Africa for Operation Albacore. You board trawlers fishing with banned nets, holds full of finned sharks rotting in the heat, undersized fish, logbooks that don't match the catch. You climb a rusty ladder onto a deck of strangers who outnumber you, and the officers behind you make the arrests, check the licenses, read the coordinates off your chart. For the first time, the men in handcuffs are taken away by their own country's officers and not simply waved goodbye across the water. This is the work matured, not just stopping one kill, but building the law that stops 1,000. You're good at it, you're respected. And you are so tired, in a way sleep doesn't touch. The tired of a person who has seen too many holds full of dead things and keeps going back out anyway. Level 9, the legend. You're the name now. The one the new volunteers whisper about on their first night, the way you once whispered a name. They put you in front of the cameras, on the stages, in front of the donors in their good clothes who write the checks that buy the diesel. You give the speech, you show the footage, you raise the money, because a navy runs on money and a cause runs on attention, and you are now both the fundraiser and the symbol. But the sea you fight for is changing faster than you can defend it. The water is warmer every year, the coral is bleaching white, the whales you saved swim through plastic, you win battles, ship by ship, net by net, and you watch the war get larger. Your knees are gone, your back is wrecked from 30 years of steel decks, your marriage didn't survive the sea, your friends are scattered across the world or buried at it. A young crew member shows you a video on her phone, the one that made her quit her job and fly across the world, and you realize it's old footage of you, in a small boat, in red water, refusing to move. You started someone. That has to be worth something. Most nights you believe it is. Level 10, the retired. One day you don't sail. There's no ceremony, not really, not for this. You move to a small house near a cold coast because you can't sleep away from the sound of the water. Your pension is the thanks of strangers and a box of newspaper clippings the world has mostly forgotten. You walk the beach at dawn. You find the plastic, the nets, the things that wash up no matter how far out you fought them. You watch the horizon for a black hull that isn't yours anymore. The fleet sails without you. The campaigns have new names, new captains, new volunteers in coffin bunks vomiting for 4 days before their bodies learn. You did not save the ocean. No one person could. But there are whales alive right now that would be dead, and you know their numbers, and some nights that is enough, and some nights it is not. And somewhere a kid is awake at 2 a.m., watching a video of a harpoon, and the water turning red, and something in them is breaking, and not growing back. They open the website, they start filling out the application, they list a friend as next of kin so they don't scare their mother. They have no idea what they're signing up for. They have no idea it will cost them everything. They have no idea it's the best thing they'll ever do.